Hey guys, something's wrong with the webcam. Is it working better? There you go. Ta-da! It's me. Um, well, how many of us? 5. Uh, Welcome everyone for stream number 5, I think. This is where we left off last week. Can you hear me okay first? Just want to confirm my mic is working. Because last time, I remember I spent 5 minutes describing images no one could see, so I'd like to avoid that again. Okay, so you can hear me. So yeah, last time we did something underwater, and this week I want to do something different. I was thinking doing something with more architecture. I don't exactly. I selected like 4 or 5 images that I thought were interesting, so I'm gonna try to share them here. Let me try. Last time was here. I'm gonna try to add. Hold on. So the goal is to share, I guess, a screen. Window capture, maybe? Not this one. Is it working? Doesn't look like it's working. I'm doing it live because the previous version where I was capturing Photoshop was not ideal. Okay, well, we'll try something else. So, this is the image. So I'm going to show it quickly. I'm going to try, can I have it bigger? Yes. So as I told you, there are 5 of them. There are images from the internet that I gathered. I pretty much gather images all the time. I've been doing that for a very long time. Probably almost 20 years now. And I used to, when I began to build my reference library, I didn't have many images, obviously, so everything needed to be done. And what I did is I had to decide what kind of organization I had, so, animal, architecture, landscape, lighting, and everything. So what I did basically is, let me make it bigger. I decided that, I needed tigers and elephant and castles and, spaceship and planes and everything. And so this was like it was very oriented. I knew what I wanted, and I looked for it. And then after that, I began to have more of a passive approach to it, which means that I was looking for images, but not with a topic in mind in particular. And you know, I was visiting a bunch of websites on my bookmarks at first, and then I found this website called Feedly, Feedly, where you could basically put live bookmarks based on the RSS feeds. I don't know if how familiar you're with this technology, but it was basically the architecture that the blog were using, which means that every time there was a new post on the blog that I decided to follow, I would have a little visual cue about it, and I would go, and you know, it's basically like putting traps everywhere, and every time there is something that, you know, is trapped, you have a signal. So I would go there, and nowadays, since blogs are pretty much dead, unfortunately, we're all under the knife of social medias, and me being on Twitch is a good proof of that. I'm actually looking for images on social medias so that I don't waste too much time, and I find a decent use of them. So I download everything on a general folder, and then I then after, when I have a minute, I go and organize everything in my big reference library. And by the way, I'm using an extension on Chrome. I think it exists also on Firefox. It's called Imagus, Imagus. And basically, when you hover over an image, it shows it at the biggest definition it can find by following all the little links from Google Image or Flickr or whatever. It doesn't work everywhere, but it works on most of websites. I know, for example, it stopped working on Instagram recently, so you can download it. So you hover around the image, and then you hit Control S, and it just saves it automatically in a folder you decided. It's super convenient, saved me a lot of times, and allows me to access some images that are usually harder to access. So the idea behind the whole thing, behind those images, as you can see here, so the name of the folder is Berg, and it's based on even though they're not all German, but basically bergs are villages on hilltops, more or less, or not on hilltops, but very gnarly and 18th or 19th century villages. I mean, they're older than that, but most of the buildings are. And I shouldn't give a date, but because I've never been in Germany, so probably some of them are older than that, but you get the idea. So actually, this is probably in Italy, and this too. This I don't know. So, and this is Machu Picchu, so forget it, we're not in Germany. This one might, but that's the only one. That said, you know, I encourage everyone to go and check the images of bergs. Victor Hugo did a series of beautiful drawings of these, and they're mostly made up, but they're very romantic, and you should definitely check it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bunch of thumbnails, and then I'll try to do, like last time, something in one session. So I'll pick a piece of paper. Okay. So let's go back on the top-down camera, my beautiful cell phone. Do you have any question, by the way? I mean, no, it's not for a project. It's not for a project. It's completely live, random, and hopefully it'll be interesting for everyone. Beautiful. So this is our paper. and it's from an old sketchbook that I didn't want to keep anymore. I can't remember why, but basically I came back to it, and it turns out that the paper is okay. Let's see if we can have a little bit of light. I'm not going to try to be too... Yeah, no, it's not going to work out. Okay, then what we're going to need is some regular good old copy paper. And the idea is basically to find a good angle for the whole thing. So I like the upshot angle, but I also like the Machu Picchu kind of view. So we might do something like that with a road. It'll give you a strong foreground. And then we'll have the town itself. I'm just going to check the phone is displaying correctly. So we need to organize the whole thing in a smart manner, and by that I mean that it's going to be pretty organic. I'm assuming the city is going to be on a hilltop, so we're going to need like a visual goal, and basically the image is going to lead from the foreground to this goal, probably a tower or something on this one, which means that we need to organize the space to think about it a little bit ahead of time. By that I mean it's the good old rule of, you know, good, small, medium, large, so you need to have like a large element, whether it is a really big building or a piece of the rock or something that is by itself an entity inside the bigger the town itself. And then after, around that, we're going to need to balance everything to make sure that we don't have too many repetition that will make it look not organic at all. Sorry. Good old allergies. So as you can see, I have a big element here and then smaller here and there, and then everything is square looking or rectangular, and we have this narrow. The only element that is narrow and long is basically the tower. So this would be one way to do it. I'm not gonna wiggle around too much because we don't have too much time to do it. Just checking if you guys have questions. No. So if we take a look at this one, you see the upshot here is quite nice. I'm gonna try a version where maybe I'm gonna try to capture and every time I'm doing something that looks a little bit precarious like that. Oh, I like this one. I'm trying really to balance. So if I'm going right, then I'm coming back left. Here I have a big problem, is that the mass, the visual importance of this element here and this element here is exactly the same. So I'm going to have to break it up. And that's something that is really hard at first when you're not used to it. Even when you're used to it, you need to pay attention to it. But experience brings a little bit of help about the whole thing. And so you need to make sure you don't have a lot of equivalences everywhere. As you can see, I went out of frame right there. I don't really care because I'll adjust when I'm doing the big one. But I like the upshot here, so I'll do another one without a frame. I said last time I would try to put some music. Oh, sorry. Oh man. Live. Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't draw much. So I was talking about the upshot here, and I was actually looking at the reference on Streamlabs, so sorry about that. So yeah, I was saying like the mass here, you need to pay attention so that it's not equivalent to any other area, which we had here. You know, we had one big element, smaller ones, and then one that is strikingly different because it's long and skinny and narrow. And here I had this and this, so I broke it up here. So if I'm going... Anybody here want to visit the Chateau Cata in the Pyrenees in France? I did visit a bunch of them when I was much younger, around 20, and it still has a really big influence on me. Okay. I think I'm gonna try to go directly based on that. Where are you guys from? Since there's not a lot of people here, we better try to know each other a little more. Okay, we have someone from Lyon. Well, if you have the chance, it's really, really, really worth it. Even though Chenonceau is beautiful, but it has nothing to do as far as the location, because all the Chateau Cathar are on the foothills. Not the foothills, it's like the beginning of the Pyrenees, and they're all on super precarious, narrow, and really hard to get there rocky edges, and they're really beautiful. I mean, they're pretty much all ruined now, but the location is really gorgeous. And the story, if you're interested in history, the story of the Albigean Crusade, I don't know how to say it in English, but La Croisade contre les Albigeois in French. Yeah, you should check out this one, Keribus, and you also have Puy-Laurens. Obviously, you have Montségur, Perpertuse, and then you have smaller ones like Roquefixade. Oh, we have someone from YouTube. Hi, Curtis, Milwaukee. Welcome. For the first time, I managed to have both YouTube and Twitch working together after spending weeks with the support of Streamlabs to understand why it wasn't streaming on YouTube. Yeah, by the way, I have a YouTube channel, and on the channel I have a bunch of videos of my sketchbooks, if you're interested. So, I'm having cold feet about maybe the first images was the best idea, meaning this one. It's not as dynamic, but it's still, composition is stable and it works. Okay, let's see on the big piece of paper. Okay, so we said foreground here. I'm wondering, do you see actually anything from on the little thumbnail video I have from Streamlabs? It doesn't look like it's catching up any line, but honestly I have no idea. And I know it's, I'm working lightly at the beginning to make sure that, I'm trying everything I can or everything I should. Maybe the castle is too big. That's gonna mess up the whole scale. So I'm trying to pay attention to the equivalence that I might have here and there. I don't know. I don't feel the whole direction, the flow of the doesn't work as I want. The thing is I don't really know what I want. I just know that what I have is not what I think I want. So yeah, I'm this whole thing. If I put the entrance of the city here, it will basically split not evenly but evenly enough the whole thing. So and even here and there, it's too close. It's way too close. So we're gonna put the entrance to begin. And then we're gonna place everything based on that. Even though what I want to do tonight is basically to, I mean, it's not like I want to give a big talk, but when you're dealing with architecture and that kind of architecture, when you don't have a very clear map of the whole city that is very organized, so it's pretty messy, and so it is actually pretty organic, even though we're talking about architecture. I'm trying to get an idea of the general terrain shape and also the scale of the basic houses. And even though I'm not going to draw an exact clear map of how you get from here to there, I just want to give indication, like a staircase here and there, to show the different routes that you can take to access the higher spot at the very top. Uh, Last weekend I visited actually maybe that's why I feel like drawing a castle today. Visited a castle in the south here near it's called Mornas. It's a fortress. Uh, Vatican. I mean, it belonged to the Pope, and it's near Avignon, in the area of Avignon. It's along the highway A7, and it's perched at the very top of a super beautiful rocky slate, and the site, the location is unbelievable. Apparently, it belonged to the Pope for the longest time. Maybe it still does actually. I don't know. The thing is that the Pope didn't really have an army, so at the time to occupy the fortress, so he asked the Count of Toulouse to do it, and there was a whole series of problems, because of the Qatar, actually, the one we were talking about previously. But during the War of Religion in France, um, the Protestants basically besieged the castle and ultimately took it from the hands of the Catholics. And they took it after the Catholic, even though the castle was impossible to take, they didn't have any water left, so they had to surrender. And when they did, they asked the Protestant to let them live in exchange for their surrendering. And the Protestants agreed. And when they finally were able to enter the castle, they decided to change their mind. And so they forced the Catholic soldiers to jump from the walls of the castle. It's a super, there's like 150 meters before falling. And so obviously pretty much everybody died, except one managed to escape before he was forced to jump. So he went and talked to the local, he went to the Catholic side and he told everybody everything that had happened. And obviously everybody was upset, so they went back, retook the castle, and guess what they did? Well, it doesn't take much imagination, but basically what they did is they forced all the Protestants to jump. and so they all died. Good old times, right? Yes, they forced. I mean, the Protestant forced the Catholic, and when the Catholic took the castle back, they forced the Protestant to jump. Retaliation 101, I guess. So I'm happier, but still not crazy about the whole thing. Um, I don't really like the whole huge wall here, and I'm not fond of the castle design. Yes, there's still this big equivalence. That's what I don't like. So as far as perspective, there is no real grid. It's a slight upshot. So as you can see, I'm just considering that for the plane of the roofs, basically. Other than that, I'm just drawing a bunch of cubes and trying not to repeat the same shape, the same proportions by breaking them up every now and then. Hi, Chris Designer. Do I know you actually? I mean, from social media or better in real life? Um, Even if I don't know you in real life, it's fine. I'm actually doing pretty good, and I hope you do too. Yeah, I could actually put a big blimp here. You're right. Maybe I should. Um, Oh, you are in lighting, sorry, on the cruise. Wow. Um, well, thanks for being here. Um, are you still at DreamWorks? Okay, so I'm looking up the shade to have a general idea of the main volumes here. Light is coming from the right, currently. Still not happy with this tower. This would be the good time to look at some decent references. I'm thinking about this castle. I don't know if you guys I think it's Eltz in Germany. Yes. I'm gonna copy an image or two on my, so that you have an idea. There you go. This is the Eltz Castle. And here too. It's pretty crazy, as you can see. I've never been there. I hope I'll be able to visit someday. But this is pretty much what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's look at this image. I really like the super steep roofs. Hello, Shiomi. Welcome here. We're drawing some weird, messed up village. Any question? I basically ripped off the general volume of the upper part of the castle. I just added, I poked a hole at the base and I lowered the right wing. And other than that, it's pretty much a complete steel. So I want to indicate that that there is a difference between the castle and the town, where the castle is more recent with a more sophisticated form. Much more, narrow and fancy with little turrets and stuff like that. Whereas the base, the entrance of the city is much, older towers that are framing the main gate. So they're more massive and the architecture is not as refined. Oh, some people on YouTube, sorry. Hi everyone, hi Laurent. Yes, I think it's very weird of me to speak in English. Yeah, I'm happy I fixed the problem too. By the way, if anybody is streaming here and is having issues with Streamlabs, their support team on Discord is really helpful. Especially someone named Thunder, who was really clear and fixed my issue in, I don't know, 10 minutes. Even though I've been exchanging emails with the whole support for like a month and a half to no avail. And Laurent, to go back to the English, the reason why I'm doing this in English is because, well, first of all, I know a lot of people in the US because I worked there for a while, and some people here don't speak French. Other than that, I would love to speak French. It would be easier for me. Also, for those of you who missed the first stream, let me show you something. This book by Samuel Chamberlain, sorry, is really a huge help for me whenever I'm trying to design Western European architecture, actually more French, and here we're closer to Germany, based on the reference I showed you, but this book is really a gold mine. It's really hard to find though, but the good news is that you can find images of Samuel Chamberlain all over the internet, and they are mind-blowing. Beautiful, beautiful etchings. His craftsmanship is really extremely high, so I really recommend everyone to take a look at his images. So right now I'm refining the shapes of my houses. I do have several of them, but most of the time I'm using mostly HB. I'm answering Laurent's question, which is, have you several harness for your pencils? Yes, right now you can see I have from 3H to this one is a 5B. Most of the time I go between H, HB, and 2B. And I'm trying to do everything with just like the way the pressure I'm applying to my pencil, rather than changing all the time, because it's killing the flow, if you see what I mean. It's really annoying talking about killing the flow to be forced to check on both chats on YouTube and Twitch. If anybody has an idea to fix that and to allow me to see everybody's question on the same spot, that would be really, really nice. If anybody has an idea. There's a question of Long Matte Silver. Where can we find the book, please? The book, you can't, basically. It was published by Dover, so you might find it online. I don't know when this one was published, but it was a while ago, I guess. Is there a date? I'm not sure there's even a date. It's the reproduction of something else, but 1981. So this book is 40 years old. I bought it in California. I find it completely by accident in a used bookstore in Los Angeles, and I was extremely happy because when I came back home, I didn't have a cell phone at the time or a smartphone. I realized that the book was worth $200 on eBay, at least. So I don't know if it was the actual value of the whole thing, but it was on sale, and I find it ever since at similar prices. So I'm assuming it was more or less the value of it at the time. But Long Matte Silver, to answer your question, online you'll find all the images you need online, and you'll find images from this book and also other ones. Samuel Chamberlain, you'll find it, don't worry. There are too many trees on the side of this hill. Equivalent for what? For the same book? No. I don't know. Maybe it's published by someone else, but I doubt it. If so, if you find it published by someone else, let me know, because I will buy it to have a backup birthday present for friends. Um, um, so Laurent's question is about reflection with graphite. I do sometimes have reflection, but I rarely go to a degree of black that is bringing that kind of reflection. So it's pretty rare. It's more annoying when I'm taking pictures or scanning, or for what it's worth, doing streams. I mean, live drawing sessions like that. So in case you missed it, I did a little bit of a fancy little piece of building here. Right in front of the old Stark Pont-Levis drawbridge. I was looking for the word. And the thing I really like in the Chamberlain's drawing is that he's able to convey the weight of these really old buildings. And I think it's really interesting to have lines that are not completely straight on the spine of the roof, if I may use this expression. I'm not even sure it's accurate. So a lot of them are really bent. And it gives all the charm to the building, I think. when I'm working on the negative space between the foreground and the town. Hi Cassie, Cassandra du stage. Ah Bonjour Cassandra, j'espère que tu vas bien. Nice to see you there. I gave a masterclass this year in Paris. And where I met Cassandra and a bunch of other very nice students. And we worked together for, was it 3 days? On a project of, it was basically VizDev based on their version of the Little Red Riding Hood. Merci Cassie. So I'm going to use my, what is it called, a stump? Can't remember the name in English. Estompe in French, or tortillon, I think, in Quebec. I think we have a Canadian person who can confirm it to us the name of this tool. I think it was tortillon that was written on the... Thanks for the confirmation. Tortillon, what a beautiful word. Super powerful tool. It's just compressed paper. Just thinking about it is beautiful. I mean, I was talking, my dad is visiting us at the moment, and I talked with him about my grandfather, his father passed away a few years ago, and his job was to build frames for paintings. So I guess it makes it a framer, but it sounds weird in English. So if you can help me with this one, I would appreciate it. Anyway, I was saying that I still remember his workshop, and he had a lot of machines, mostly saws and stuff to work the wood and everything. And it was a big room, and the machines were pretty big. And I told him that I don't really understand the attraction that super portable devices have on people, like tablets such as the iPad or the Surface or whatever. Because to me, the fact that it's tiny doesn't make it look super professional. And I know it's not it's not super smart of me to say that, but I like big machines, and so I have my big Cintiq right there. It's the good old 24 HD, 24 HD. I'm not even sure it's HD. I don't even know exactly if it means anything for the Cintiq that are that old. This one is from 2013, I think. And anyway, yeah, I like those big machines. They look. It's better for my insecurities. I mean, I guess I feel like a professional when I'm using big devices like that. Of course, iPads and tablets like that, they can be convenient when you're traveling all the time. But the question is, do you really want to work when you're traveling? Because I don't. Or at least, not with digital tools, because I'm using them already too often in my work during my work day. Anyway, I'm gonna work on the other foreground element here. This is actually a good exercise when you're, sorry, oops, I'm back. When you're working on trying to get the most natural unevenness, and I'm talking, you know, big, medium, small, and negative spaces and everything. And when you're drawing a big piece of an old wall, you know, with dry stones, trying to get the right rhythm between the stones, it's quite tricky. It's a very tricky exercise, but it's really good to understand a good way to balance the rhythm between the elements that are supposed to be the same. This is an assignment I gave to the students I was following and during mentorships, and it's a little tedious if you are not able to find a playful way to deal with it, but it's very it will teach you a lot, I think. So I'm gonna look at candle. I will never, for the life of me, I can't remember how you say colombage in English. I think it's, I have it in my reference. Where is that? Um, no. Okay, Google Translate. It says half timbered. There you go. So it's not something you normally you're able to make up. So books like the Chamberlain book should be of a great help. Any question, guys? I'm falling asleep here. I need some brain stimulation. Otherwise, I don't guarantee that I'm not falling asleep on this drawing. Electric eraser. This should wake me up. And I know that some of you may think it's a weird kind of gadget, but believe me, once you try it, it's really hard to do without it. What was your favorite project to work on? Artistically, probably the crude. And the team was actually pretty good, because when you're working on a project, sometimes the big fancy project, they attract a lot of people who are very competitive, and the global mood on the not the mood, but the atmosphere on the production on the show can be sometimes a little tense, which was not the case on Cruise. I mean, not at my level anyway. But I also really enjoyed a solo project I did in 2005 in Cherbourg in Normandy. For those of you who don't know Cherbourg, it's at the very end of Presqu'île. Which is a piece of land, basically, that advance on the water. And on the case of Cherbourg, it's during the winter month. The rain pretty much turned part of the area into an island, or some kind of an island. And for those who are not familiar with French geography, might be more familiar with historical geography, they are near the D-Day beaches. Actually, one of them is in, I think it's, which one was it? Juno? Man, I'm ashamed. I can't remember which one it was. It's the one near Sainte-Mère-l'Église. Anyway, it's a beautiful area, and I worked for a little over a year, I think, on a project of a solo exhibition based on the area, and I could do anything I wanted. And so I visited regularly, took the train, took my bike, I biked around, visited a lot of sites, natural sites, but also, buildings and mansions and museums. And at the end, the great teams of the Museum of Cherbourg, the Musée Thomas Henry, led by the amazing Émilie Robe, put together a show based on my work, and they did a really amazing job. And it was a while ago, it was in 2005, but the degree of liberty, of freedom I felt, and the pressure too, because I had never done that before. And this is when I understood what exposition, which is the French word for exhibition, really meant, and I really felt exposed. If this time I'm switching to the English version, I didn't feel I was in danger, but I was really feeling I was exposing myself, and it was a little scary. But I really liked the quality of the show. Was really, really beautiful. I had, people treated me decently, which hadn't been the case in the publishing world at the time, because I was working mostly for publishing. So it was a very, very nice experience. And I'm really grateful to Emily, the curator of the show, and curator-in-chief, I guess, of the Musée Thomas Henry at the time. Now she works at the Musée de l'Armée, Army Museum in Paris. So yeah, probably the Croods and this. But to be honest, there are a lot of shows that I really enjoyed working on for different reasons. Finn, who was a project that I worked on with Paramount for almost a year, actually a little over a year altogether, if I count the time I spent working as a freelancer on the project. I really had a great time. Project was great. It would have been a really good movie, and unfortunately it got cancelled. The Holy Grail, you mentioned Lieutenant Kaname. What are you referring to? Anyway, so yeah, those projects were great. Finn was great. And sometimes project I worked on very shortly, like something called Giant Girl. When I was I worked on that for Real Effects. For like, I think 3 weeks altogether. I was so excited by this one. I was really excited that it would be turned into a real project, long-term project that we would develop. But I don't know what happened, and they canceled the whole thing. Larrykins at DreamWorks was a good project too. And ever since I've been working freelance from France, I worked on really cool projects for Paramount and Skydance. I'm working currently on a really cool project for Netflix. And I don't know when it's going to be released. Yes, it is the Grail. It's one of my most prized book in my whole reference library. But as I said, you can find most of the images online. And actually, I bought an etching from Chamberlain from a gallery that was in Florida at the time. It's in my house, and it's a view from a street from Paris, the Rue du Dragon, the Dragon Street, basically. And it was the street where the school I graduated from was located. So I was like, there you go, I have to buy it. And I think it was $200, which I thought was pretty cheap for the quality. It's a big print, and you know, it's Chamberlain, so. So as you can see, I'm trying not to draw every stone. I'm just detailing some patches. And then here and there I apply a little more pressure at the intersection of the stone. But it's delicate work. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to finish the whole thing in one session tonight. I guess you'll have to come back, guys. Sorry about that. But it's harder to make up architecture than organic stuff. It's not because of perspective, that's for sure, but the scale is different. Yes, Lieutenant Kaname, you're right. A lot of the drawings of Chamberlain are on Pinterest. I'm looking for the name of, oh yeah, Hedley Fitton. I'm gonna write it down on the side here. Another artist you might want to take a look at. It's different from Chamberlain, but it's very interesting too as far as, you know, architecture is concerned. I discovered I bought an etching of his work a few years ago. I didn't know anything about him. I just liked the etching. And the etching was in good condition, but the frame was completely destroyed. And it was an etching of the Church of Saint-Emilion. So when I saw it, I began to look him up, and his work is really, really something. I will need to work a little more on this foreground. Bye, Encantress. It was really nice of you to swing by. Thank you. See you next time. Oh crap, do you have any question on YouTube? No. Wow, 8 people on YouTube. You're really quiet, YouTube people. The Twitch people are much more talkative. Not that I want to, stir you up and get into a random provocation, but that's pretty much a fact. Yes, Chamberlain is a true master, indeed. He did also a lot of work in Italy and Spain, but I haven't seen a lot of the etching he produced for these countries. Trying to summon the power of the tortillon, the stomp. So the foreground is not done, far from it. But at least there is a, I killed the contrast inside the foreground, which means I didn't leave a lot of differences between the darkest dark and the lightest light. It's still gonna need to be darker than whatever is behind, that's for sure. But I'll take care of it later. I don't want to, have to deal with smudging too much. So I would say it's an overall indication. It's there, it's dark, not as contrasted, not as detailed. So it does his work, which is basically to push you inside the image. Because as you know, drawing is just a magic trick. It's trying to pretend you have 3 dimensions when you only have 2 on your support. And one of the trick is that, make sure all the different grounds have a good relationship between each other. Dang, the provocation didn't work on YouTube. Everybody's asleep. That's unfortunate. I think this is getting a little small, but happy to announce I can still use it. I'm going to darken the roofs of the big towers around the gate to make sure that they read as foreground element for the town. Hi Mug and Flo, welcome, thanks for the comment on the trees. Bye, Long Mad Silver. Good night. Do I keep every drawing I make? Yes, of course. Why wouldn't I? Do you mean am I selling some, or do I throw some away, or I mean yeah, when they're not working, or when I take a look at them after a bunch of time has passed and they're really old and I don't know, they're not evoking any good memory and they're not technically really interesting and artistically, emotionally, whatever, then sometimes I get rid of them. But most of the time, I do keep them. I work a lot on inside sketchbooks, so I'm keeping the sketchbooks, so all the drawings are inside. I'm gonna check on YouTube to see if people are. Nope. I'm poking them with a stick the hardest I can. Not a reaction. So where was I with this house? Wow, he was throwing the drawings away because of space. That's strange. That's very strange. Usually I don't draw really big, so I don't know the format of his pieces. Maybe it was really big and it was indeed a real estate problem. But I'm lucky that I don't have this issue because it's not like I have all the space in the world, even though I have some space, but my drawings are usually pretty small, so I can accumulate a lot of them in a small space. Okay, let's try, and I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna switch to an H. I'm gonna prepare the work for next time. As you might have noticed I'm poking the page regularly with my kneaded eraser, just to make sure the contrasts are not as important as on the main wall. Um, Thanks, Lieutenant Kaname. No, I didn't know about the hashtag get your art underwater, but I'll take a look because anything that is allowing me to repost old stuff is welcome. Since I can't really post whatever I'm doing at the moment, and it's been the case for a few years now, I really feel I'm like a talking museum because anything I do is old as hell. I mean, anything I can show is old as hell. And when I can show it and it's about to be, it's because the movie I was working on has been released, you know, it, the work was done ages ago, so it's quite a strange feeling. It's not frustrating sometimes, it's always frustrating. Uh, and granted, we're talking about project that actually made it to the screen because a lot of the project I work on, they never make it to the screen. And so it's even trickier to know when an official okay moment happens and then you can show what you did on something years ago because another artist was brave enough to do it before you and it hasn't obviously been attacked by all the lawyers from Hollywood or the video game god. So yeah, it is frustrating. It is very frustrating. But on the other hand, if you're under NDA, it means you're working on projects that are usually interesting. So I don't want to be too French and complain. I'm trying something new with the pattern of the stones on the wall. I'm trying to basically, instead of having them stand out through line work, I'm basically drawing. I mean, using the negative spaces, indicating the negative spaces with a white line. So I'm basically drawing the inside of the stone with gray, leaving a very thin outline. I don't know, I like it. Hi, I'm hoping I'm not butchering your name. Jaime Rick. Of course, you can ask me a question. That's what the stream is pretty much for. So shoot, don't be shy. So what's your question? No, I'm not working for DreamWorks. I haven't been working for DreamWorks for a long time now. Last time was 2017, 16, maybe 16. Last project I worked on was at DreamWorks was Larrikins, and it was never released. So chances are you're not really super familiar with it. I then worked for Unified Pictures for a year on a cool project that was cancelled too. And then I came back to France, and I've been working freelance for 3 years now, still mostly for animation, tiny bit for video game companies, but not too much. I'm currently working for Netflix for 3 months normally, on a pretty cool project, and I'm just out of another project at Skydance, their TV series project called The Search for Wanda, based on the Tony DiTerlizzi books. And I'm looking forward to seeing the result on the screen. It should be released on Apple TV sometimes in the near future. So, Aymeric, were you at IMAG, or are you talking about the live I did with on the Adobe YouTube channel during the event in 2019, if I remember correctly? Remember, guys, when I said I didn't want to polish the foreground too much to avoid smudging issues? Well, this is exactly what I'm doing. So I'm going to try to focus a little bit and stop right now. Wow, we're 15 viewers strong on Twitch. Okay, the live session on YouTube. Okay. I did another live session with the Adobe channel recently that you probably can find on Behance or their YouTube channel. It was on the French YouTube, the French Adobe channel. So unfortunately it's in French. If you're not a French speaker, it will be tricky to understand. I really need to put on some music because I just began to whistle by myself. And that's a sign, guys. Oh, you're French. Oh, okay. Yeah, I said it previously. The Twitch streams are in English because English people are watching. So the good news is that it will help you to improve your English if it's not good enough, or motivate you to do so. You're very right. You need to speak English if you want to work for the animation industry. It is extremely important. And it's something a lot of people disregard, and it's going to be their loss. So yeah, do improve your English. You're going to need it big time. Okay guys, I think I'm gonna call it a day. See, I'm going back. I need to stop because I'm going back to this foreground. And next time I'll look for some design for the upper part, and we'll wrap it up next time. So I'm looking at it right now, and I can see the size of these trees. They're too similar. So I'm going to correct that right now by beefing up pine tree on the foreground here. And the problem I have right now is that now they're exactly at the same height. Oh damn. It's getting really late. Okay. I'll fix it next time, I guess. In the shape of this. Pine tree. How old are you, Emmerich? I personally learned English when I was doing role-playing games because all the handbook, all the rules were in English, and some were never translated, so I didn't really have the choice. One of the many things I'm grateful for. Role-playing games. '24, okay. So, watch all the series, the movies, the video games, the whatever, in English. I know you already have a lot of things to learn, but unfortunately, English is not something you can skip. You have to speak a proper English if you want to work for the... I mean, you can work for, the French animation industry, but you will limit yourself to this market. And at the time where, you could work for a lot of other studios in, Australia and the UK, in the US, or even, in Germany, or you have to have a good English. There you go. This is where we are, guys. I like the beginning of the whole thing. Let's hope I'll manage to nicely build up what's above. It was great talking with you. I wish everybody a good night. Emmerich, if you want to talk about your experience at Emile Code, I know the name, just the name of the school, and it has a really good reputation. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stop the stream, so feel free to contact me through social media. Everybody else, thanks for the usual. Thanks to Lieutenant Kaname, Incantoress, Long Matt Silver, and all the usual. And Dewey from Pasta Games. Well, nice to see you and to talk to you. Please do come back next time in 2 weeks. It's pretty much every 2 weeks. So by mid-June, we should wrap up this thing, and then another one at the end of June, and so on. So have a good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.